All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the DotPro Daily Recap Show. We are live here from Gameworks, a beautiful place. It's a sweet mix of a bar and arcade here. Having a lot of fun at the place so far. There's a lot of people here. Make some noise, guys, so people can actually hear you. We're not, I promise, we're not like in a room by ourselves like we usually are. And I'm saying we, of course, on BreakyCPK, joined by zrrock here. zrrock, how you doing?
Hey. Apparently I'm zrrock. Hey, guys. Third year in a row we've been to Gameworks. Anyone have a beer in their hands? Raise it up, yell, make some noise. I don't want sober people at my event here at Gameworks. Come on now. That was awful. Try again. Let's go.
Cheers. Cheers.
Better-ish. All right. Yeah.
We're doing our best with the equipment we have, asshole.
Yeah. It's
all right.
There is one back there, by the way. Just keep walking. You'll find it.
So, with all this said, guys, we're going to be doing a daily recap, obviously, as we've been doing throughout this whole week. This will be day number 4 here that we got the daily recap for. So, we're going to be talking about the 3 series that happened today. And then maybe be joined by some guests later on, perhaps. Perhaps there's some guests lurking around there. So, that'll be some fun here. But
I see Grady in the corner. He's kind of begging for a mic. So.
Do we want Grady
we'll see.
on it? See, we had him on recently. It'll be at least a year before he's on.
He's done enough coverage. It's not an in-house league. He can wait.
What does he know about competitive Dota? He did win the fantasy league, and that's the thing. Anyways,
win the fantasy league.
So. He knew not to pick Huo and Envy. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Why did you believe so much in Cloud9 and Fnatic?
He did too. Even though he won, I
true.
took 2 of his picks from the worst players in fantasy. The pick before he would have gotten them.
I got good players. My players were good. No one and Raven. That's like top 2.
I mean, did you win?
No.
Did you get second?
We had like 12 players. My good players were good.
Literally 12. You know,
literally.
Yeah.
Okay, so today it kicked off, of course, with the first series. All of it was losers bracket. The first time it happened so far. We had Liquid versus Empire. Of course, the dark horse team that is. I mentioned the DC of last year. DC's knocked out now, so they actually are the DC of last year.
Yeah.
They ran into Liquid, though, and, Liquid coming off the victory over Team Secret, obviously a team that a lot of people even almost expected to win this whole thing, possibly. They won it 2-0, and I think it was pretty handily there.
In all honesty, like, if I can sum this sentence up, like, this whole entire series up in one phrase, Rezo tried. Like, that Weaver in Game 1 tried so hard to put the team on his back and make that work. And in all honesty, if I get one thing out of it, well, 2 things out of this. Empire made a hell of a run. For a team that was potentially going to be out in group stage, maybe a first-round losers bracket loss, that was a monster run.
Yeah, it was amazing seeing these guys. Again, they were the only team that obviously had the visa issue in the end. With the, there you go, high fives as we're going on here. That's what it's like here at Gameworks. They were the only team that had the visa issues, obviously, with the champion not being there. But Resolution, again, proving time and time again throughout this event, easily one of the better carry players in the scene. I think we have really witnessed throughout that is kind of what I definitely got for this, and I know many others. But again, I still go back to Empire as a team, a good team. I mean, hell, I'm even looking at this first game here. FN, their mid player that I drafted. He did all right for me. I mean, not too well, honestly.
If you had him in main stage, you would have done a lot better.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that guy was a monster for a lot of their games.
He was. But he went 6-1-7 on Puck his first game, obviously, so he did all he could do in that first game. But in the first game, the lineup of Liquid, by the way, they once again ran the Matumbaman Broodmother mid.
I mean, that hurt, but the problem, like, the fact of the matter is we saw what Beastmaster can do if a game gets to a certain point. He has a spike in the early game, and then later in the day, we saw a huge spike in the late game Beastmaster, and we'll get to that later. But that pick has gone away for a while, and it came back with a vengeance today. Yeah, absolutely did. And Matumbaman, again, known for doing that. He went 9-2-4 here in the game, and obviously, again, really kind of dominating his lane and looking good throughout. So they took the first game there. And about a 34-minute victory, looks like, just to recap that part. And then game number 2 came along. Empire backs against the wall. They decided to, this time, put Resolution on classic Anti-Mage, which usually, he has obviously great history with this hero. But never really were able to he was getting farm,
but his teammates around him seemed like they were dying quite a bit and couldn't really take over.
He pulled off what I consider like the alchemist strat, like how you counter an alch. You just give him space and then win the game around him. Like, ignore him and win the game. Like, the AM was huge, sure. And if you look at Liquid's draft, that's early game. You had a Huskar, you had a Darkseer, you had Naix, like Lifestealer. Those are all early game heroes. They hit a 1-2 item power spike and then they go off and you win off that. But this game wasn't that short. I mean, it was 30 minutes. You got to the point where Lifestealer usually falls off. Huskar pretty much always falls off by then. And they just played around the anti-mage. She was so low impact in that game as far as winning the actual game, getting the things getting done, that, in all honesty, I kind of had Empire favored here because with the way they've been playing with that 4-man core running around and doing stuff and then Rezo on the side, I thought they might be okay.
There was, the way I looked at this draft, especially from Liquid, They picked like a couple of duo of cheesy strategies of sorts. They obviously had the Oracle Huskar, as we mentioned, but then on top of that, they had the Slaughter Lifestealer.
They took the infamous special?
The infamous special,
the infamous special. Slaughter Lifestealer is infamous. I'm sorry. That's their duo.
Heroes, probably.
Yeah,
okay.
I will give South American credit for that combo.
That does a lot of damage, too. As we've seen, you put the Crush phase up. If they're ahead, sure.
If they're ahead, the Crush into Infest Bomb is literally one dead core no matter who it is.
Yeah, even anti-mage. Obviously being physical damage there. So, but yeah, no, it was kind of this all-in-ish idea. As you said, it lasts about 30 minutes. It seemed like that was going to kind of be the peak maybe, and then if they got past that mark, perhaps that could have been something, but they couldn't. They couldn't. It was too much. I will say that this was one of the first times, at least in these last couple of days here, where it was the exit interview wasn't maybe as sad because it was like,
holy hell, we made it this far.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, these guys were happy. They came in with almost no expectations.
Yeah.
Like, you look at most of the other teams who maybe expected to go out in groups that clung to group stage, or teams that were one-win teams, like that kind of thing. They're devastated. But Empire's like, oh, man, we made it this far? I'm so happy for us.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sure they're thrilled. I'm still very curious. We talked about this in the very beginning when the change first happened with Resolution for Chappie of like how the pay split was going to work.
Yeah.
I think your idea makes the most sense where Chappie gets, what they got for qualifying, the minimum. What's up? High five. Yeah, as we're going through. What's up, guys? That's
Trent
how we
Pack's
do here.
in the house.
Trent. Oh, got the high five from Trent. There we go. Anyways, where was I? Oh, yeah, about that. And then Resolution gets the rest of whatever extra they made, right?
Yeah, in reality, if they went out last place, okay, you got to figure out an alternative way. But as soon as they make it past one round, okay, Chappie got them there. You give him his cut for getting them there, and then the rest goes to Rezo. But we'll see. That's up to the team. I'm not worried about it.
Not that it's any of our business.
No, it really isn't. As long as no one gets upset in the end. But what I'm curious about coming out of this, Rezo showed he is flexible enough to fit into a team he hasn't played with. That guy is going to be top dollar coming in after the TI shuffle here.
Oh, yeah. He is going to be one of the most recruited, if not the most recruited player.
I literally think our show following TI might be the Where's Rezo show. It's going to be Where's Waldo TI version because that guy is going to get a salary somewhere good.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's going to find a nice home, and it could be of many places. Obviously, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes outside of CIS, as he did with Planet Odd, of course, so... He has a lot of options ahead of him, and I'm sure he's just a happy guy right now. The fact that he got to make all this extra money, and not have to worry about the whole casting thing, got to play instead and play against.
Are we moving on to the depressing series? Because I'm ready to move on to the depressing series.
I was trying to stay away from it for a while and kind of keep going on with Empire, but
it's time.
Oh god damn it! All right. I don't even want to. I
mean, in all honesty, all right. Who all out here still listening to us? Who wanted OG to win today? Anyone an OG fan out there? We got some noise. I need to hear it on the cast.
The one guy.
All right, we got one guy you're gonna pick up on the mic.
That's okay, there's a couple more. There we go.
All right, we got a few. No, in reality, like this series was probably the most hyped one about the day. Like, what is OG gonna do?
Dream Red Bull.
Team Red Bull. Yeah, great sponsorship. But they got put against LGD, a team that's done well, but I mean they're not like looking like FY, where they're stomped through. But they've had some struggles, but they're here. And in all honesty, this series came down to the draft phases. Like OG was behind from minute 0 in every game they played, and I think they drew them all out about 15, 20 minutes longer than they should have.
Yeah.
Like I went and like walked around, talked to some people, came back, and I'm like, how have they not lost yet? But they didn't really have a win con in any of these games, and it was kind of sad to see because they played so well, but their picks just didn't work.
One of the biggest things I said actually in yesterday's daily recap, I guess, was going into the day was how are they going to deal with the Magnus?
Yeah.
LGD has been running a lot of Magnus in their recent success here. Whether it's paired with Anti-Mage or whatever hero, they pick a
losing lineup.
It was a sad time.
Yeah, that really did hurt because, yes, I mean, all right, this is not like I'm upset to see this many China teams late on in the tournament. They've done extremely well. They've outdrafted, they've outplayed. LFY especially has outplayed a lot of teams.
Oh, yeah.
But in reality, when you get to an event in the U.S. and there's no one for the people at home to root for, it feels awkward. Yeah. I mean, you haven't been to a TI yet. If it's a China on China final, you'll kind of feel it. Like, we're at the point now where we want a Liquid versus China final.
Yeah, well, that goes into our next series, in fact. Liquid versus Virtus Pro, and sure enough, Liquid did end up winning that series 2-1.
What a series.
Oh my god, what a series. This
was
a
grind.
Probably the best series we've had so far, I think you could say. And I don't think that really is surprising, right? I mean, these are obviously two very good teams going at it.
I don't think most people expect Liquid to take a game to 105 minutes and win.
It was insane.
Okay, maybe they'll draw it out there, but they're going to lose. Like, Liquid is your early game tempo. They're going to run at you and win the game team.
Yeah.
And for a game to go almost 2 hours and them to close, that's hope, man. That was impressive.
Yeah, and this was a game, too. I mean, you can even look at the net worth graph going up and down. And obviously, I'm sure I'm like many people. I was tuning into the beginning. I kind of, ended up go talk to some people, grab a beer or whatever, and come back 30 minutes later expecting the game to be over. No, it's 90 minutes in at that point. It just kept going. But Virtus Pro was ahead for a fair amount of that game. Within the first hour, they were more ahead than not in this game. And it's especially no one on
it came down to buybacks, man.
There. Yeah.
It came down to effective use of buybacks in the late game. I mean, in all honesty, Liquid bought back at times that would swing a fight and get an objective versus VP saying we have to defend and they buy back. And Liquid honestly just shows they have the late game experience needed. And in all honesty, I mean, I'm straight up giving that to their captain. Like, Kuro knows that. He's played those games. And I'm sure those shots came from him and paid out in a big way.
GH is also a player
GH
that
is a monster.
Continues to impress me. And if Liquid happens to go all the way or even continue to go further, I think GH is going to be up there as far as a candidate for MVP.
GH is like your subtle star, right?
Yeah.
Going into this tournament, who would have said GH is our guy we're going to watch on Liquid? Like, maybe one or two people that happen to be fans of him. But in reality, he was always kind of behind the scenes. He just did what he was supposed to do. He did his job. But man, literally, I saw 3 Reddit posts today that were the same meme of, oh, you let Liquid pick Coddle, you lose.
Yeah.
I mean, you do not ban Coddle. Liquid picks Coddle. Game is over.
Yeah. And that's not even his only hero by any means. I mean, obviously, he could do it all, it seems like. So,
and we talked going into this, I think, even before group stages, about how must bans are very, very important.
Yeah.
If a team seems like they have a hero you have to ban first phase, that gives you a huge advantage because your pool opens up. What you're allowed to play just widens so much. And we've seen Coddle bans coming out now against Liquid.
Yep.
If you're pulling Coddle Wisp every game, you can't ban a core.
Yeah.
You can't ban an offlaner. You're stuck into this weird ban phase where you're just like, all right, well, we had to ban 2 essentially 5s. All right, now what?
We saw game number 2, speaking of that, Virtus Pro, they ended up banning the Coddle and the IO GH bans right there.
And won.
They ended up winning the game, of course, forcing that third game. So, to win a game like this, especially in about 30 minutes or so, but 36 minutes after playing a 105-minute game,
that's hard.
That is insanely hard, you got to figure.
The times I've talked to a few pro players, they've been a little upset that if you're in a series already, Valve is pushing them too fast to get back on the floor.
Yeah.
They said, we only get to talk for about a minute or two, and then they say, go to the bathroom, go get food, go do what you got to do, and then you're back on stage. You don't get time to relax and decompress from a 100-minute game.
No.
And losing one like that can be crippling.
Yeah.
So, honestly, the big takeout from Game 2 to me is more teams need to learn how to use Necro effectively. We've seen a lot of Necro this tournament, and it's been hit or miss. And in the games it's done very well. It has been scary good. Mm-hmm. And then we've seen teams lose 100-minute games with the Necro. I really think that could be the potential meta breaker coming through in this tournament in the last couple of series. But there's a way to draft around a Necro and there's a way to not. And I don't think teams are quite there yet.
I'm looking at this team, too, and I remember even thinking of when watching it as well. Virtus Pro, this was a team, they built this lineup with the idea in mind. They were going to be insanely hard to kill. Mm-hmm. Not only the Necro to start things off, but they went the solo Ogre, of course, a key hero of his. You had a Viper. in the hands of no one. Obviously, difficult here to kill. And then Dazzle thrown on top of that with the Shallow Grave, with the heal wave. Their whole concept really felt like, we're going to run at you. We're going to say you can't kill us. We're going to win the fights in the long run. And that's what seemed to happen, actually, throughout this game. So,
and it's interesting because I think if this game would have gone to 100 minutes, different story. But teams taking tempo. And this is what we see when we see the late phases of TI. Teams finally realize, we're ahead. We're good right now. We're going to go. And this was when VP actually took the game essentially by the balls and just ran at buildings. Like, they pushed very aggressively. It was a low-kill game. They only had 32 kills in 36 minutes, and VP just kind of pushed them out. How do you hold a tower when you just don't have buttons to press?
Yeah, exactly. So they ran over them in the end, and then with that, set up the epic game number 3, you know, this great series right here. Going the distance, to no one's surprise, I think, and game number 3 ended up going in favor of Liquid, as we mentioned, but as far as how it played out, I do remember one thing that really did stand out to me personally in this game, and it's a little unfortunate in the sense
of... Was it the Roche fight?
What's that?
Was it the Roche fight?
Well, there was that Roche fight, yeah, that happened. Yeah, there was that, but and part of that Roche fight as well, Pasha on the Magnus, he had a couple of instances throughout this game here, frankly, missing some RPs.
I mean, that's kind of life. That's just how it goes some days, man. Like, hard mag games are hard. Like, what do you do if there's that much AoE damage, and like when you're seeing a Venomancer chucking wards down and splashing plague damage all over, and you've got a Lich just chucking Chain Frost early in a fight, which they got thrown super early, then if one bounce catches you, you can't go RP when you want to. And he tried. I most notably remember that fight behind the tier 2 on Radiant side, and he was hiding in the corner as much as he could, and he tried to get one RP off for a big save.
Yeah.
And it just didn't win a fight. It was more defensive than it was offensive. But the whole game, he's scared as to how am I going to blink RP.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're scared to do that, and literally the biggest thing I think I said, I actually watched most of this game with Lyrical, and we're going back and forth about this. VP's draft was hard to execute. You had that many ultimates, and when you pick a team with that many ults, you've got A ult, you have Void ult, Scream of Pain from Quap, or Sonic Wave from Quap, and RP. If you don't allocate those out, that we need 2 of these to win this fight and 3 of these to win this fight, and budget them properly, you blow everything, you kill one guy, and then you lose the fight. And that's a huge problem. Their draft had such a harder level of execution than something like Liquid's where, you get a good echo and you slam your buttons.
Yeah. Proved to be difficult for them in the end. And Liquid, they were triumphant. Miracle on Anti-Mage. Able to help them come through. Mind Control, though, also in the offlane. Nature's Prophet, who has continued to be a very popular hero in this event as well, especially for those rat purposes there. But
exactly, and I think that split pressure was kind of what showed the weakness in the very, very late game. There was a fight in their base at the top racks, and Void basically tried to chrono someone, but AA got sort of gone on, so he just like squidded his ultimate. Like, one of my favorite terms in Dota is like a squid when he gets scared just inks, and it just like spits all over. So he's like, I'm getting gone on, I better throw an ult, and he threw it off to the left, and it hit no one. And the chrono came out 2 seconds later on a core.
Yeah.
And if that A ult had gone in that direction, if there was that communication, could have been a different game. We might have had another 20 minutes on this game. The A ult gets wasted, he dies. The Void ult didn't kill anyone because there wasn't an A blast or follow-up, and then you just kind of had nothing. You wasted 2 of the 4 ults, and there was nothing there.
Yeah.
Like, they're pros, sure, but they're not perfect. No player is perfect in Dota.
Oh, of course not, yeah.
It's a game of mistakes. And when you draft a lineup like this, if you aren't flawless, you have so many areas you can get punished. Versus like Liquid's draft, if a Fissure is in range, you might lose a hero. It was just so much easier to execute, and Liquid just punished the living hell out of those guys.
You know, when you look at the stat line of this game, it actually is interesting because
Liquid was looked ahead like the entire game.
Well, Virtus Pro looked ahead. Yeah, you had Ramses 9, 2, and 8, and then no one 16, 6, and 7.
They didn't die very often. No, but the fact of the matter is, when you have an ult-based lineup, one pickoff is enough to make you not take a team fight.
Yeah.
If you're missing your AA even, the easiest person to pick off on your lineup, how do you fight? The entire goal is you chrono or you crush or you RP somebody with an AA blast to follow, and if your AA is dead, you can't close.
Yeah. And I think Lich has definitely become a hero, too, that a lot of people are realizing is quite a strong one in that support role.
I think Lich is 5th pick worthy unless you're LFY. LFY are the gods of Lich, and here's the breakdown on Lich, right? He is stupidly strong in getting you ahead in a lane because Sacrifice is straight up broken.
Yeah.
You hit 2 before them, you hit 4 before them, you hit all the spikes before they do. You get levels as a support, which is stupidly undervalued right now. How many supports have we seen at level 3 or 4 at 10 minutes? And then both, like, they're debating who gets the tome, the 4 or the 5. Like, they're just sitting there arguing, and, okay, you got to give it to Warlock or something, right? You need Chaotic Offering. But Lich gets levels. And then he drops off as soon as BKBs come online. And then he gets disgusting when he hits 25.
Yeah.
Anyone that doesn't realize you should always take the I can give stupid frost armor to buildings talent is wrong. That skill is busted. Skill. And the second you hit 25, you like buy a blink on Lich and make sure you never die. Because if your team gets wiped and you would lose a Rax, you might just lose a tier 3.
Yeah.
Like that skill is literally game winning and keeping you alive if a team fight goes bad. And I think LFY uses that more than any team I've seen.
Yeah.
They know how to play Lich. They've scrimmed with it. They know it. And this is where TI gets fun, right? A team's shown something that works. So now every team's watching replays like, how did this work? What was good?
Yeah.
So maybe Lich will be first pick worthy by the end of this. Maybe that'll become our new pub cancer for the next like 6 months. But I think it's an LFY thing, man. Plus, we have to suffer through Pudge for like the next 4 months.
Oh my god!
All right,
was that today?
Yeah, no, it was yesterday.
That's right.
But like, who in the house actually voted for Pudge over Rubik? Because you make me sad.
We all voted Rubik.
Disappointed.
I voted Rubik. That's for sure. That was. Do you really think it was that close? Or do you think Valve was BSing?
No, I think they fudged numbers.
Yeah.
And in reality, I think they could have built it up better. They could have announced it was 50-50 on Monday. And said, you've got 3 more days. Vote it up, guys. We're tied. And built this hype around it and then put something into the announcement. It actually came out really lackluster.
It was like, that's it.
Yeah, a bunch of my friends were like, oh, apparently that's what happened. Okay.
We're probably just butthurt that it's Pudge. I don't know. I'm not disappointed it's Pudge, to be honest. I really didn't care either way. I would have liked it to be Rubik.
I mean, I did hear from one of like my 7K friends. They would rather Pudge than Rubik because all Pudge has to do to win a game is hit one good hook at 40 minutes. A bad Rubik just loses you games. So if we're gonna get like a 40% pick rate of one of them, they would have rathered Pudge than Rubik.
That's fair.
But anyway, tomorrow quick preview and
tomorrow quick preview. We don't really need to talk about the All-Star match today.
No, it was honestly like they put money in and it was probably the least hyped All-Star match I've ever seen.
Go figure.
It was just mellow.
Go figure. Okay, so tomorrow's matches. It kicks off with the losers bracket. IG versus LGD. Battle of 2 Chinese teams going at it. Yay.
No. 2 Chinese teams in TI still? Come on.
I know, it's weird. 4 Chinese teams remaining. With top 5. That's insane to me because I've been saying how China's going to fail this event.
I mean, I did too. I'll own up to it. I said, the only thing I said was LFY is my dark horse.
Yeah.
I did at least claim that, but the rest of it I had no say in. I thought they were going to bomb.
True. That's true.
But yeah,
kind of awkward.
IG LGD is going to be fun. You know, B-God versus probably the better team.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've got LGD favored going into it. But
really? You like them over IG, yeah? IG, I have been impressed with their run. Even they took Newbie to 3 games. Newbie, I think you can argue, is looking like the hottest team right now over LFY.
Oh, I mean, they're running on a heater for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, they're absolutely on the top of their game right now.
I would expect IG to come out of the series. I would.
I mean, my thing is, it's a poker term, risk of ruin. And when IG's on a heater, the risk of ruin's very low. When Burning is on and he gets way ahead, they're nuts.
Yeah.
But when they falter, what do?
Well, they fail. They lose.
Fail. Exactly.
They are dependent on that player, just like Empire on resolution and so on. That's definitely not the only team there. But so IG versus LG to kick it off. The winner of that will play. Well, actually, then next it'll go to LFY Newbie, which is the winner bracket finals there, of course. Those teams guaranteed top 3. Winner goes to the grand finals. And as I said, I think Newbie's.
I mean, that's going to be fun, right? Newbie's got a little more experience, but LFY is on the most disgusting heater I think I've ever seen at TI. They have actually just dominated from day one on.
Yeah.
In like decisive fashion. They 2-0'd VP in groups. And when I talked to you about this, I said like, I thought VP could watch replays, change, adapt, and beat them. Because I thought they were a better unit. And then LFY stomps them again. Like, I literally don't know the answer to these guys.
Yeah.
They are nuts right now.
Yeah, they only lost 2 games, and one of those losses came at a point where they had already had first place claimed.
How do you care at that point?
Yeah. I mean, that's true. Like, I'm just kind of going by the eye test, and absolutely LFY, Monet, Super. These guys are freaking amazing. But
Afu.
I have
Thank
become
you.
Afu is a good
Do
player.
not criticize my MVP on that team. You cannot fail to mention that man.
I've become so much more of a fanboy of SCCC, though, this event. I mean, I already was kind of going into this event, but the guy's good looking. The guy's a fantastic Dota 2 player. I mean, how can you not like, or how can you not hate this or like this guy? That's what I meant.
Yeah, I mean, he's just, you think he's good looking. I see how it is, Breaky.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, he's good.
Little man
good
crush.
looking,
That's how it is.
You got the man crush. We are not doing karaoke, sir. We're doing a live. Hey, I recognize you, by the way. How's it going?
Don't worry,
We're doing a
Breaky's just
podcast
introducing
right
himself
now.
something.
I'm just,
and,
yeah.
I don't know what's going on. Ignore this on the podcast, everybody. It's
I did not.
filler.
I just caught up in the moment here. All good. We'll talk later. Anyways.
just to point out some notable people, we got Mike Maggs.
We got Mike Maggs, the one and only Mike
The
Maggs.
chat wheel god, Mike Maggs.
That's the chat wheel god right there for those that may not know in the house.
The guy that potentially may keep chat wheels in for another year. Voice chat wheels.
That's one of the best things Valve's done recently in Dota 2. It's like,
It's hilarious.
it's a great
It's one of those
addition.
things you hear him as you're spectating, as you're casting, and it's just like watching teams internally flame each other is probably the best part of chat wheels.
Yeah.
Someone makes a mistake or dies mid, and it's just like it's a disaster. They just like flame each other in chat wheel constantly. Normally Russian. It's almost always the Russian quotes.
I have no clue what those mean.
I don't know what they mean
Yeah.
either. Anyone
they are fun.
anyone
They
know the
are fun
Russian
to hear,
quotes? Can
though.
someone run up and tell me what the Russian ones mean? Because I got no idea.
Newbie LFY. I got newbie. You got LFY.
I got LFY. Yeah, you want to put
All
a beer
right.
on it?
All right, we'll put a beer on it. Sure.
All right.
So I have IG, you have LGD. All right, so we got a beer on that one too. Liquid plays the winner of IG versus LGD. So again, I got technically Liquid versus IG.
I
Liquid
mean,
versus LGD. The bias in me says Liquid.
I mean, my bias says Liquid. My in all honesty, like analysis says China's the top 3 of this tourney, and we're done for any other hope. China
Oh
is
my
crushing,
God.
man. I mean, their scrim scene, their coaches, the way they've prepared for this is on another level. I don't think their play has necessarily been that much better than most of the other top teams, but their coaching, their drafts, whole new level.
Yeah. I just hate hearing those words.
I know,
China
man.
top 3. My first
I don't think it
TI
feels coming out of my
get to
mouth. I
attend.
said them. I had to say those.
Like you're not wrong though. That's the problem. You're not wrong.
I mean,
Kinda
that's not
right.
the first time I've heard that in my life. I just got to point that out.
Heyo. Grotty coming through. So, I mean, Liquid's a great like.
Liquid's great.
This
Don't get me wrong.
is not. I don't think it's definitely a set in stone. Like I'm not guaranteed top 3 China, but
And to be fair, all right. So one thing I do have to mention real quick: when Liquid played Secret, the casters didn't talk about this at all. Yes, they talked about Puppy and Croaky, like playing against each other, old rivals. No one talked about their coaches, which were Sunby and Heen, both MVP legacy players. They were gods in their own merit at their time, and they were considered incredibly smart. That was a coaching grudge match for the ages. But Sunby was mentored by Heen, who is Liquid's coach. So if any coach can actually pull something out, since we don't have Boba coaching like he probably should have been, because that guy is probably the best coach in Dota, Heen's kind of my last shot for anyone that speaks English.
You think Sunby's like coaching or with Heen at this point of like we
I actually
need to
do.
beat China?
Yeah. No, I do. I know Sunby stayed in the hotel basically the last 2 days, and I have to imagine it was a lot of replays and a lot of talking.
Yeah.
And a little bit of pubs, because every pro
Of
is like a
course.
straight Dota addict.
Of course.
It is.
PUBG or pubs?
No, like solo matchmaking right
Actually
after you
pubs.
lose TI has got to be a great
Okay.
feeling.
All right. So yeah, no. So that's going to be the final series tomorrow, and then of course one more day after that, which will be the losers bracket finals, followed by the grand finals. So, we got 2 more days. Only 2 more days.
I mean, we're at
Only
finals
2 more
ticket
left.
time now.
Yeah, we are. That's true. Actually, today was the last day of the actual main
Speaking
event.
of,
Or the
I should find a
midweek.
finals ticket at some point.
You should.
I really should.
You don't have one yet. That's right. Hopefully we can get you in Zero. I'm sure
I'm
we'll
not
something
worried.
out.
It is what it is. But we got some hype matches. I mean, in all honesty, the Dota will be great. I'm just hoping the fans will match. I want the loud crowd. Like, to be fair, when Wings won last year, they had a section. and it was loud as
the
loud as
Chinese
hell.
fans are insane.
Now they have an entire pillar.
Yeah.
It's not one section. It's from bottom to top up to the upper
you can
rows.
tell.
And it's 2 sections wide.
When ROTK came out for the
I yelled for that. ROTK is a living legend.
They went crazy.
The only thing that could have been better than ROTK was Zhao 8 coming out.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so he came out and all the Chinese fans just ran down, made a lot of noise. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But like I mentioned earlier, I believe, hopefully, we'll have a guest here. Is our guest nearby? I want to see maybe you can find him here. So Zrrock's going to go see if he can actually grab him real quickly. We potentially have a guest, and it looks like we actually do have a guest right here. Very happy to be joined by a player that got to compete in TI7. I'm going to be joined by Sumail. No, I'm just kidding. No, not. Going to be joined by Swiftending of Hellraisers. How's it going, man?
Hello, Breaky. Nice to be here.
Nice to meet you as well. Happy that you made out Gameworks. How you liking the environment here? How you liking hanging out?
I like it very much. It's this bar is the first time I see something like this.
Yeah.
A lot of arcade games, a lot of drinks to have, a lot of fun to have here. So I'm pretty excited to be here.
So have you been enjoying watching TI7 at least?
Yeah, I have. We have our suite. Valve gave us a special VIP place.
Yeah.
Even though we didn't pass the groups, So
Well,
we are still watching. We are still following. It's a lot of good Dota to see. So it's still very exciting for me to be here.
I know it's not the most fun memory to talk about, perhaps, but if you don't mind, just the group stages. Do you think you guys underperformed, or were other teams maybe just that better than you? Could you say, or how do you think that went?
I feel they were the Chinese teams. I feel they were a lot better than us, and I also feel we did underperform. I didn't come into this event with many expectations because it's kind of miraculous for me that we are even here at this point. We kind of qualified out of the blue, and we are still not even let down that much that we lost. It's our first experience. We are still kind of a new team. Most teams that are here that have been playing for 1 year, 2 years together. So I feel we could have passed the group stage, and then whatever happens, happens. I wanted to play some games at the arena, but I will take this experience as well. I'm satisfied that I'm here.
I thought you guys were a lot of fun to watch in the regional qualifiers, especially. I've been following you and basically your teammates for a while throughout this whole year. You especially, though, you kind of joined these guys. It was a couple weeks before the regional qualifiers?
Yeah, I believe it's 10 days before the open qualifiers. I wasn't even sure if I want to play the qualifiers themselves because I kind of left my team before that to finish some school stuff. I didn't really commit all in on Dota. I was still doing school and competitive. So Milan asked me to play, and I wasn't sure if I want to do it. I got offers from some other teams, but I declined. And I was I didn't play the last TI qualifiers. I didn't have a team back then, and I didn't want to skip on another year.
Yeah.
So I was let's give it a try. But I didn't want to stay in the team for more than the qualifiers. So I said, if we lose in opens, I'm out. I have to, study and stuff. If we lose in regionals, it's all nice. We got far, but I'm still going to, go for the exams and stuff.
What if you qualify for TI?
And then TI happened. So,
Yeah.
I kind of threw everything aside and just focused on Dota.
Yeah, that's really cool. So now I don't know if you really even thought about this yet or anything. Or if you don't want to talk about, that's fine too. But what about your future? I mean, what's the deal? Are you just focusing on just having fun at this event for now, and who knows what's going to happen? Or are you confident that you guys are going to stick together? Or?
Well, for myself, I think I'm going to commit to Dota more seriously next year.
Okay.
And for us, I believe we are sticking together. So
awesome.
Yeah.
That's great to hear.
There's a big shuffle coming. You can never know what's going to happen. Somebody might get offers from some big teams.
Yeah.
So you can never know, but all I know for now is that I believe we are sticking together. We are not happy with our performance, but we believe we can be a good team. We got the good players on paper. We can work, and we can become better.
I think it's important to be consistent. The fact that you've already gotten to where you are with so little history together, I think says something, and there's a lot of potential there. So that's good to hear. Like you said, who knows what's going to happen, but so far.
It's a surprise even to us. So
yeah. Definitely. So watching this event, is there a team that's been fun for you to watch, or are you just kind of watching it all and liking it all?
I'm watching everything. I like watching VP. I'm kind of sad they lost today, but I'm kind of rooting for both VP and Liquid. You know, the remaining Western teams in the event. I'm kind of sad that EG lost. It feels really bad for them. You could see the emotions going through it all. So, yeah, mostly the Western teams. I guess I like also how Newbie plays. I think it's the first time I got to play against them, and they are insanely individually skilled as well as playing as a team. So they are also big favorites here.
Is there a specific player that you really like to watch and almost like imitate of sorts, or?
I like to watch Matumba Man.
Okay.
I like him for his attitude and for his plays
guy.
as well. Yeah. He's like laid back. When he plays pubs, he is never rude. He never plays. He just, gives his best.
Yeah.
And because I'm striving towards that, it's also a player that's an inspiration to me.
Have you been practicing your broodmother?
Not quite. My micro is quite bad.
Okay, well, you got to work on that then a little bit, all right? Well,
Yeah.
For next year here. All right, well, any shout-outs you want to give to friends, family that may be listening to this?
I want to give a shout-outs to everyone who supports us, who believed in us, rooted for us, cheered for us, to my family, to my organization, everybody who made it to Valve, I guess. Everybody who made it possible for us to be here at the event.
Awesome. We appreciate you joining, man. Really do. And guys, that means we are going to be wrapping up here on the DotPro show as far as our daily recap. So, going to be coming to a conclusion once again, but we got 2 more days here. 2 more days to enjoy. We'll be recapping both. That's the plan, at least. And hopefully you guys have fun continuing to watch TI7 as well. I know I will. So, thanks again, swiftending. As always, zrrock for joining me, and the crew here at Gameworks for listening in. Those that may have been. Shout out to you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Also, shout out to Dota 2 Reddit. Dota 2 Reddit, of course, for putting this gathering together. Definitely. These are always a lot of fun. These are always a lot of fun to attend. And I know as soon as I put this mic down, I'm going to go mingle with everyone around here as well. So thanks again for tuning in, guys.